guys, good to be back. Last week I was in Russia, and so I wasn't able to do our Q&A this past week. So now it feels like it's been so long. So you guys, Russia was so fun. We had a great time there. The people there were amazing, and they were seriously some of the most grateful people I have ever worked with. They were just really fun, and I just fell in love with them. So today we have a lot of questions because we had questions from last week and this week. So I'm just going to start right into some questions. And we had a few questions kind of around building in other countries. So Jenny said, Teresa, I have an English-speaking friend living in China for a year. I'm in Canada. I'm not sure how to enroll her while she is in China. I can find info, but it's all in Chinese, and I have no idea what it says. I'm looking for enrollment kits, and is it any different than US or Canada? So I don't know if your friend is Chinese or if she is American, or what country she's from, because when she enrolls, you can enroll her just like normal. So if you're trying to, if she's only living in China for a year, even if I was living in China and I had never enrolled before, you would sign me up as with an American account, a US account. Okay, so just because they're living there doesn't make a difference with how you would sign them up. It's where they're from and where they want their account to be. So then you've got a shipping issue. So let's say, I'm assuming she is American, and well, you're Canadian, so maybe they're Canadian, but either way, it doesn't matter. They're living in China. They want to enroll. They just go into the back office. They enroll just like a normal distributor. And if basically all you need to know is this: if the country they're trying to enroll with is not officially open with dōTERRA, if dōTERRA has not officially opened that country, then you need to sign them up under the GAC. I think when the drop down comes up, it'll say GAC, like G as in Gary, A, C as in cat. And what that stands for is Global Access Account. Okay, so what that means is basically we don't have an account for you in your country yet. So in the same way that if I live in India and India is not open yet, I can still buy products from the United States. That's kind of what they've done. They've made it so that it's legal. People can totally enroll and buy their products, but they don't have it set up for them to get paid if they start building a business or any of that kind of thing. Doesn't mean they can't start helping other people enroll and get that in order. Now, you mentioned that it is like you can't read Chinese and you don't know where to find that information. Most countries are basically the same. You sign them up as a global access account, GAC, and then you go from there. And what happens is, let's say that you were signing someone up, and I'm going to use a different example because I had another question that was about Africa. Francois, is that how you say it? How to create, oh, sorry, no, that's not true. Erica, what advice do you have for opening in market South Africa? So this information applies for all countries, and so that's why I'm going to cover a little bit more information. So when you have someone who is GAC, then you enroll them as a GAC, and when dōTERRA officially opens that country, so let's say they are in India, they're Indian, and they enroll as a GAC account. When dōTERRA officially opens the Indian market, what dōTERRA will do is they will go to the GAC accounts. They will take all the ones that were listed as Indian because there are questions you need to fill in. They will take those and they will move them over into the Indian market account. Okay, so dōTERRA takes care of all of that. It's really awesome. Now for China, things are a little bit different because in everywhere else in the world, network marketing is legal. There are certain things that dōTERRA has to do within that market to prove that they're abiding by the network marketing guidelines of that country. So Brazil was really, really hard, for example. They are really worried. They want to protect their people. They had a run of companies that came to Brazil years ago that totally took advantage of the people and were a bunch of scams. So now they're very worried, and they had closed it down to network marketing. They've opened it back up. dōTERRA is growing like crazy in Brazil, but it was a lot of hard work and a lot of money for dōTERRA to get that all ready. So network marketing is fine at basically everywhere else, but in China, network marketing is not legal, but direct sales is legal. So there is a definite differentiation, which for our purposes, we call it maybe network marketing in America or Canada or Europe or whatever. It's also called direct sales. They're basically the same thing, but there are a few minor things. In China, they call it direct sales. If you call it network marketing, it's illegal, even just that distinction. So it's direct sales, and there is a, it's so strict, in fact, and you've got to be very careful to abide by the guidelines. You don't teach, the compensation plan is different there, although the payout is exactly the same. They had to structure it a little bit differently so that it abides by the country's legal requirements. But at the same time, by the time you're done, then what happens is, doesn't matter how many people on your team, what level they're on, your payout for you is exactly what it would have been if it had been structured the way it would be structured everywhere else in the world. But for example, in China, you can't even use the word level because they don't like that. And even the word in China for level is, you can't say that, then they consider that illegal. You have to use a word that's the closest word that you can use to identify this word in Chinese is step. So their word is ti dui. So even if you don't speak Chinese, you need to learn that one word, ti dui, because you can't call it a step, you can't call it a level. So you can tell them you have a ti dui, all right? And so what a ti dui is, a step down, and everyone in China is allowed to have only 2 ti duis. So you have 2 ti duis, which means it's kind of the people who are below you on your team, and everybody gets 2. So what that means is, if I get 2, here's me, and here's my first ti dui, and then my second ti dui. Well, my second ti dui, they get 2 ti duis. So in essence, same thing is happening, but because of the legal requirements they have and trying to protect their citizens, you have to teach it that way. You don't say it any other way in China, okay? And for example, instead of, they don't have the rank names. They don't call them Presidential Diamond. And when somebody starts building doTERRA in China, they basically get to do the same things. They get to share with people, they help people enroll, they help people buy their own oils. But if you go to your back office, you only can see your first 2 ti duis. And so then you have your numbers. And when you become a business with doTERRA, there's a lot more to it than this, but this gives you an idea. And then you can work with the office. They will totally help you. But then what happens is, first, once you have shared the oils with enough people, with a small number of people, now you become what's considered a trainer. And as a trainer, you are basically hired by doTERRA to go out and train, and what you get paid as a trainer is totally dependent on who enrolls and how much they buy. So those numbers are basically the same as what we would get paid. It ends up working out exactly the same. So you don't have to worry about that. It's honestly a crazy ton of configurations and crazy amazing work that doTERRA, working with the Chinese government, has done to make this work so that it's still seamless. So just understand that when you're doing China, you need to make sure that you work with the Chinese office. There are people who speak English. There are people in US who support the Chinese market, and you can call them and tell them you're working in the Chinese market and that you need them to help you. So they're just amazing at helping. But just be really aware of that. So when Chinese people come to maybe Hong Kong, or they come to the doTERRA convention, they may go to business classes, and we're teaching business the normal way that we're used to, so they can see how that is compared to how they teach it in China. But you can totally teach it in China. You just have to make sure that you're abiding by the laws. And so that's something that I could definitely do more trainings on, but that's all I'm going to talk about here. The last thing you need to know, there are 2 things I'll tell you when you are doing something international. And I don't care if you're the first person selling to someone in Brazil and nobody else has bought any oils in Brazil before, which obviously now it's getting big, or if you are working in a market where there's kind of a lot of volume. Well, I'll tell you 3 things. Number 1, don't ever ask, when is doTERRA going to open? When is doTERRA going to open? Let me tell you when they're going to open. They're going to open when you create a big enough market. When you have enough volume going on, hundreds of thousands of dollars of volume, that then financially doTERRA, it makes sense for doTERRA to come in and do it. Unless you think, oh my goodness, why won't doTERRA help us? They bend over backwards to help us even when it's not open yet. But if it costs so much money, millions, to register products to come in and take care of a new country. And if they do that too soon and the market isn't big enough, then now they're spreading their resources too thin. but they have been very wise about taking on new countries as they're ready, as it's wise. So just realize we're the ones who come in, we paved the road. We get it all ready. They've never opened a country until we went in and got it so big that they kind of had to. They're like, we got to open China because it got big enough. We've got to open Brazil because the distributors, the wellness advocates in doTERRA are getting so much traction, so many people wanting the oils that we've got to do something about it. So realize it's not doTERRA's job. That is our job. That's number one. The second thing I'll tell you when you're working internationally is you are going to have crazy problems with the shipping when you first start. If doTERRA is not taking care of the shipping yet, you need to understand it is not easy. But it's okay. You can always figure it out. Somebody's borrowing my charger on my phone or my computer, and it's almost dead. I'll be right back, you guys. Chelsea, I need my charger. Would you mind bringing it to me? I'm in the middle of a Facebook Live. Okay, she's going to bring it to me. So this is the deal. With shipping, there are a couple things that you want to do. Yeah, if you'll plug it there, and then thank you so much for sharing today because you got locked out of one of the rooms. So what's going to happen with shipping is you're going to find that it's way too expensive. You're going to have your first person orders. Let's say you've got a small team in India, you've got 5 people ordering, and the shipping people say, well, it's $100 to ship the product. Well, people can't afford to buy the product and $100 for shipping. And so what you do is there are a couple things you do. You go to local people in that country. Everybody in that country, or most people, have shipped things or received shipments from friends or family that are in other countries. So almost always, even if you have to ship from the US, doesn't matter where, because now you have places like, let's say you're going to ship from Singapore, or you're going to ship from China, or wherever you can buy the product that's closest and cheapest to ship. Wherever you're going to be shipping it from, you find out with the local people in that country, how do you ship stuff to and from that country? And they will show you the most awesome things. Sometimes they work with a certain company or a friend who does shipping and goes back and forth all the time and travels once a month. Whatever, you'll find the craziest, most awesome ideas. And the fallback is always, there are companies like, there's one called DHL. DHL I love because, and I'll tell you why in a second, but DHL is one company that ships. UPS ships. There are a lot of different companies that are shipping companies. You can use any one of those. But a lot of times, number one, they're either way too expensive. Number two, they can't get stuff through customs. And if you're working with a country where sometimes the customs officials are corrupt, then they might say, oh, well, today it costs you $50 to get through customs. And the next time they say, oh, sorry, this is going to cost you $500 for the same amount of stuff to get through customs. So you have to understand that you're going to be dealing with some things and you're going to run into problems. That's okay. Guess what? That's why you get to be a founder in the country when the country gets big enough, because doTERRA knew that it was going to be really hard to open that country. There are a lot of things that you have to deal with, a lot of days where you're so excited and it's so fun and awesome and you get to be the one, and then other times that you're in tears and you're like, I don't know if I can do this, okay? So just realize that work with the locals, look at the different companies that ship, but I like DHL, and let me tell you why. Sometimes DHL is cheaper, sometimes it's average, and sometimes it's the most expensive one. But especially if you're working with a country where officials are corrupt, or maybe there aren't set regulations for customs and it changes all the time. This is what DHL does. And if you're working with a new country, you have to double check. I always double check everything, but this is what I have found as I work with DHL. They hire government officials that are customs officials. They hire them full time to work with DHL, so they get paid and they can't change the prices. And so now they get things through customs, and they are the most efficient, the most trustworthy across the board that I have found. Now, that doesn't mean they will always be. It might not be that way in the country you're working on. I'm just telling you things I've learned that might help. Now, the beauty of it is, let's say you have no other options and you have to use DHL, and DHL charges $200 per shipment. But usually if that's the case, if it's expensive, you can add more and more to the shipment. It's more just that one package, it has to be at least $200. That's what they charge. So you get to the point. This is what I tell people when I come into a country and it's brand new. I say, and I make it sound exciting, because we expect to get our oils in 3 days or we're like not happy. And so that's the third thing I'm going to tell you about opening a country is you've got to set the expectations right. So let's say you're coming into a country and you've got 5 people who make an order. You do a class in India and you say, oh my goodness, you guys, these oils are awesome. 5 people enroll. But you tell them in the class at the end, say, now, India is not officially open. So you can buy the product, but the people in this room, we are the first ones. We are the first ones here. And I'm going to make it sound super exciting because honestly, it is. So I tell them all about that. And I say, now, because we're the first ones, the shipping is something that has not even been figured out yet. So your first order may take 3 months. It may take 5 months. We are figuring out the shipping. This is what we've found so far, but we need your help to know. And this is how I get the local help. I find out what they do. But I notice how I set the standard. I think I can probably get it shipped in a month or 2. I say 3 to 5 months because they understand, wow, this is brand new. It's going to take a while. But we will figure this out. And I tell them it'll get to the point where we're getting the stuff shipped every single month. Okay. So just know that we're going to be spreading this. You saw what happened at this class. We have 8 people here and 5 of you enrolled. This is what happens at all of our classes. So we are going to continue sharing the oils. You're going to love them so much. You're going to end up sharing them with your family and friends. And by the way, if you did the class right, the quick, fun, awesome, easy class that we do, by the time you're done, most of the people in that room will want to get involved and are interested in the business. So they're already going, oh, I might be. And so I say the people who get in now are the ones who will be the first ones. Now, it's exciting. And the people who choose to do this now are going to be the ones who end up being the biggest leaders in this country. But there are also, that part of the reason that happens is because they're the ones paving the road. They're the ones who we've got to figure out shipping. We've got to figure out, we're going to come upon stumbling blocks. And I am looking for people who are serious, who are going to help me open this country, because it is not going to be easy. And then I proceed to talk about how awful and hard it is. But I say it like I'm all excited because I am excited, but I'm also trying to set the standard. So I tell them all this stuff and I say, if this is not you, then you need to wait. You need to not get in right now. I need people who, as we come across these problems, that they're going to help me figure this out. It is awesome. And by the time I'm done, guess what happens? People are like, oh my goodness, it's going to be so hard. I'm good at that. I'm a good problem solver. Oh my goodness. I totally have a cousin who does this shipping. You would not believe it. If you do not set that stage right, every little thing that goes wrong, you are going to have people mad at you. Those of you who have helped open different countries, if you're on here, I want you to tell me if I'm not right. And every little thing that happens, people act like they want to quit. They act like it's this big problem. But when they get their oils in 2.5 months, and you keep them posted, communicate with them so they know what's going on. When they get their oils that fast, 2.5 months, are going, oh, wow, we're already down to 2.5 months. So just be aware that it's how you set the expectation. In fact, when I was in Russia, they were asking some questions because, of course, they're going to, all these countries are right by them. In fact, in our Russian event, we had 400 people. We had people from Kazakhstan, from Israel, from Russia, of course, from all over Europe. I mean, they were just from all over the world. These guys are dealing with all these countries. So they have to understand how it works. And so I did a Q&A time in Russia, and one of the guys asked, he said, so what do I do? Because it's looking like dōTERRA says they're going to open, like they're getting ready to open in that country. And I said, okay, when did they say they're going to open? He said, well, it sounds like they're saying, what did he say? I can't remember. I'll make up months because I don't remember exactly. But I think he said October. It's looking like they might be able to open in October. I said, you want to know what I would tell my people? I would tell them, oh my goodness. I don't go to them and say, hey, dōTERRA says they might open in October. I say, you guys, dōTERRA is getting ready to open this country. And right now remember, they said October. I say right now, it is looking like it's likely that they might be able to be open by June of next year. That is seriously what I say. and I get them excited. And I say, our job right now is to help grow this as much as we possibly can, because the bigger we create volume, the easier it is for dōTERRA to come in and work with the government and set this in place to make it easy for us. Because if problems happen, and dōTERRA tells us months that are real for them, but then you don't know if the government's going to come in for that country and say, oh, you know what, we don't like this. We want you to pay a fine of $1 million because we want this and this and this, and you have to establish it like this. So it's going to cost you $1 million and you got to pay it to the government. Those things happen. And so sometimes there's negotiation and they got to work with the government and they know what they're doing. Thank heaven. So Karen's saying, so I would purchase products, sell, and ship myself to someone in another country. Yes, yes. You would either buy the product and ship it to them, or let's say I'm trying to ship to China. Well, China's open. Let's say I'm trying to ship to the Philippines, okay? I wouldn't necessarily buy it in the United States and ship it to the Philippines. If I can, I would see if I can buy it in Singapore and ship it to the Philippines. Now, it depends because, for example, in Singapore, people buy, but when Malaysia was not open yet, they bought the product in Singapore and shipped it to Malaysia or took it across the border to Malaysia. But then, but that was totally legal. There are some places, for example, where Singapore, there might be legal requirements about where people can buy, they can buy from Singapore, and Singapore can only ship to certain places. Some countries can ship anywhere. From the US, you can ship anywhere. From Canada, I think you can ship anywhere. So make sure you know exactly what you're doing about that. Okay, let me see what other questions we have about this. Okay. So you guys know you've got to set the expectations. I'm not kidding. You guys, you need to pretend, I don't mean this rude or weird or whatever, but almost like you're playing a game with a little kid and trying to make them believe that's probably a bad example. You're like, I was going to say make them believe that they're a ghost or something. That's a bad example. That tells you a little bit about what my brothers did when I was growing up, okay? So because you're not tricking people. That's not what you're doing. What you're doing is you are setting the expectations really low so that you can over-deliver. And you don't know what's going to happen. So you need to make sure that you set their expectations that this is going to be crazy hard. And that expectation is not wrong. It will be, okay? So next question. Let me see. I got to open it again because it closed. Okay. Where is it? Okay. So creating leads. Francois, I'm assuming that's how you say it. How to create leads with people you don't know. Okay. That is an awesome question. For those of you who want to learn more about getting leads online, it's not that I don't talk about that here, but I have a lot of questions I'm going to cover today here. But you can get into my Facebook group that's called Marketing Game Changers. And in that Facebook group, today I'm going to be talking about how to get leads online, that kind of thing, from people that you don't know. For right now, for this question, I'm going to talk about how to do that with people you don't know here, okay? Number one, you need to make sure that you are involved in your community. I'm telling you, Chamber of Commerce has brought in more awesome leaders. For those of you who don't know what happens at a Chamber of Commerce, you might think, well, that sounds so official or so political or something, and I don't think I'm business-minded enough to be involved. All it is you get a membership. They're usually not very much for your city or whatever. And you can buy a membership to any city that you want. And what happens is sometimes you just sign up to be in it and it's free, but then if you come to lunch, it's $20. So whenever you feel like it, they have lunches, I think once a month. It depends on the Chamber of Commerce. You go to the lunch, you pay the $20 for that specific lunch, and you sit at a table with 8 to 10 people, and everybody's at different tables. So every time you go, you end up with different people because it's not assigned seats. And during the lunch, this is exactly what it's for. It's so that people can network, get to know what each other does for work, and maybe they might need help from you. So for example, if I'm at Chamber of Commerce, and it's super fun because you're meeting people. So what they do during lunch, everybody has 5 minutes to talk about themselves and their business. Okay. So maybe the person next to me stands up. They say, hey, I'm a plumber and this is what I do. And I travel to the whole area around here and I'm looking for more clients. And so if you know people who need a plumber, and he passes out his business card. Everybody goes around the room like that. So when it's my turn, I have 5 minutes to talk about essential oils. Well, let me tell you, some of you will know who Peggy Smith is. She's a presidential diamond. She's huge in doTERRA. She has one of the biggest teams. She's one of my biggest leaders. She's amazing. And she actually went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. She was with a company called, I think it was Body Shop. Body Shop now only has like actual brick and mortar stores, but they used to have distributors, like it was network marketing. They were network marketing first. And she had a big team. She was one of their big leaders. And she came to this Chamber of Commerce. And my other leader, Jared Winger, he stood up, talked about essential oils. And as he talked about that, Peggy was sitting there thinking, I am so not interested. I love my company. I don't even want essential oils. And that's nice, but I have my thing and I'm successful. I'm doing great. And then about, I don't remember how long, maybe about a month later, Peggy found out from her company that they had opened the stores and they had distributors. The company let all the distributors know, hey, we're going to be switching to only stores and we're not doing distributors anymore. And that will happen at the end of the month. And at that point, all of your paychecks will go away. So this entire huge team that she had worked hard to build is now gone. She's losing her entire paycheck. And she remembered Jared talking about the oils. And she remembered the feeling that she had about it and that it stirred something inside of her. So she decided, you know what? I'm going to get in touch with Jared. She called him. She moved to doTERRA. We had her come and meet with the owners because she needed to see for herself what this is really all about. And after what she'd been through, guess what? She didn't want to go through that again. So Chamber of Commerce, make sure, like, do you like sports? Do you like running? Do you like swimming? Do you like, whatever sports? Do you like art? Do you like book clubs? Whatever. Get involved in those things in your community and you'll start to make friends. And as you're making friends, I'm not going to tell you go get involved so you can hunt people down. That's not what we do in doTERRA. You have something that can help people and absolutely change their lives. And if that's your mindset and it's all about helping them, you've got to meet new people. So get out there, get involved. You're going to be shocked at how, and every time you meet somebody new, I want you to add them to your Help 100 list. If you don't have a Help 100 list, I want you to go to my website, teresaharding.com, and I want you to download, go to the resources tab, and I want you to download the document that is your 100 list. And I want you to think of every single person that you know. This is not because you're going to hunt them down. We teach you exactly how to approach people. And by the way, in my resources tab on my website, I also have scripts, a ton of different scripts that teach you how to talk to somebody, how to talk to someone who might be interested in the essential oils, how to talk to someone who might be interested in the business. Pardon me. And there are several different ways. So let me see if I have any questions. Karen says, I've worked in Russia before, very exciting, and I was mentally exhausted. Do you speak Russian? That's the question. Were you needing to translate everything into Russian in your brain? So yeah, I loved Russia. We were in Moscow. Super fun. Okay, so let's see. Next question. How to move from elite to premier with only one active builder? That's advancing in rank. That is an excellent question, Michelle. And I will tell you that is probably like how to advance in rank is the #1 question that we get. So I'm going to tell you 2 things, and then we'll end for today, and I have more questions for tomorrow. Well, I have a placement question. Maybe I'll do that one too. I'm going to go a little bit longer, okay? So how to move from elite to premier. This is the deal. If you guys have not done, if you do not know the training for the 1 sample away or 6 weeks to elite, how to get to elite in 6 weeks. And you might think, well, I'm elite. I'm trying to get to premier. That's not what I'm asking. But I am telling you, I don't care. And I told this to the people in Russia. I said, I don't care how big of a leader you are. I don't care if you're blue or presidential. When I have a leader who comes to me, and I have had blues and presidentials come to me and say, I'm totally stuck. Can you help me? I don't know what's wrong. I'm in a rut. I can't seem to get past this rank. I make a lot of money. So I don't know if I'm just apathetic. I don't know if whatever. This is what I tell them. I say, okay, we're going to do some mentoring and I'll mentor you for the next 6 weeks. But we're going to do this. If you're serious, then I need you to do exactly what I teach. And so they do, because usually they're coming to me, dude, you think as a presidential, you think it's not a little bit hard to go to somebody else and go, I don't know how to do this. Of course they know how to do it. We know how to do it, but sometimes we do get stuck and sometimes we need help. And so guess what I do? I take them through exactly what I teach in 6 weeks to Elite. And by the time they're done, they have new builders. They have a ton of stuff happening on their team. They've got leaders who are excited. You guys, it's a game changer. It really, really is. So what we do is we do our retreats, which is what I did in Russia. Guess what? By the time we were done, they knew exactly what to do for the next 6 weeks. And I said, if you are a big leader in Russia, I don't care. You start over as if you're brand new. You just humble yourself and just act like you're starting over. And that's what I do with people who need help. I don't care if they're brand new, my brand new leaders, or big leaders. I say, okay, we are going to start from square one. So the big leaders, I say, I know that you know how to build this. Obviously, look at what you've done. But we are going to pretend like you're brand new. So don't be offended, because I'm going to train you. I'm going to teach you as if you haven't heard this before. Because guess what? We forget. We get caught up in the stuff, the day-to-day and all the stuff we have to do, that we forget what we were doing at the beginning that actually built our business. And you know, I'm getting so excited about the online stuff, and some people are starting to worry, Teresa's trying to teach people that you got to do online and not offline. I'm telling you right now, you have to do offline. If you don't do offline, you will not be successful. You can go get leads all day long. I could teach you right now how to get 1,000 leads that are pretty highly qualified on internet right now, and it wouldn't even cost you very much. But what are you going to do the minute you get that lead? Number one, you got to talk to them. You got to have some sort of a conversation that helps them figure out where we're going to go next. Next, you've got to train them. You've got to show them what to do. So it doesn't matter if they're going to get all their leads online, or if they, and I'm telling you, people will say, I'm going to get all my leads online. That's absolutely a lie. They might believe the lie, but it's a lie. Because I promise you, there are brothers and sisters and friends who you end up wanting to help with the oils. You are going to do this offline. So at our retreats, we teach how to do this. The Russian people, by the time they were done, they knew exactly what to do. And I am telling you, I probably got more accolades and more gratitude and people in tears, so grateful, because they go, oh, this is unbelievable. Now that this we can do, this makes sense. And I'm telling you what, the biggest leaders in dōTERRA are teaching this because it's what works the very best. So come to one of our retreats. We were scheduling the retreats for this next year. And in fact, let me give you kind of a heads up of what we're looking at. It's not set in stone yet, but it's looking like, let me see. In fact, I'm probably not even going to tell you dates. We're definitely doing one in Utah. We're definitely doing one in Vancouver. And we're going to do a couple of international. We are definitely doing one in Israel. So get ready, because that's going to be awesome. And I don't know if we'll do a second one in Utah or not, but we are going to teach you, when you leave, you will have a business plan. You will know exactly what you need to do step by step. Okay. But the thing with the retreats is, number one, they cost more because, you know, we have to get the venue. We have to pay for all the stuff. So it costs more. We're doing one in Florida in November this year. And so if you can get to that one, I'm telling you, it's worth every single penny. So if you want to go to the Florida one, look up Teresa Harding is coming to Tampa or something like that. I think it's Teresa Harding is coming to Tampa. So check that one out. But this is what happens. People come to the retreat, then they go home, and they may or may not follow through. So we created something called the One Sample Away, onesampleaway.com. And this is what this is. It is where, imagine if you went to a retreat, you don't need to go to the retreat first, because we teach you exactly what to do. But in the 30 days, day one, I say, okay, I train you on what you need to know. And I say, today, do this. Day two, I train you on what you need to know. Okay, now do this. Every single day, it's like I'm holding your hand as if you were my leader. That's exactly what we're doing. And you guys, it is powerful. And at first, I will tell you this. All my trainings, I don't charge dōTERRA for my trainings. But, and I've been telling you guys, I'm going to be putting some trainings out that are for generic network marketing, because I want to train people on what I have learned, but also I know that will help people come and want to be on my team. They'll be interested. Oh, what's your product? That will help grow my dōTERRA team as well. But in dōTERRA, I tried to do the one sample away for free. And guess what happened? People quit halfway through. So this is how we've set it up. You have to pay $100, which by the way is way cheaper than the retreats. Second of all, you get the 30 days, but as soon as the 30 days is over, it disappears. You lose it. So you get every single thing you need. I walk you through it step by step. You can keep whatever notes you want, but I'm telling you, it changes things. And I've got texts from people. In fact, I'm going to read you this text because I want you to understand it's not just me freaking out about this. Okay. I got a text from a leader on my team, and I get a lot of these. So she says, first she texted me and said, let me find it. Thank you for the one sample away challenge. And she puts in capital letters, finally, a way to train my team that is comprehensive, professional, and duplicatable. And then she has a bunch of clapping hands. dōTERRA owners are so lucky to have you leading us to success. Well, I only know this stuff because of all the mistakes I've made and because I get to work with the owners and because I get to work with other awesome leaders. But we've taken the best of the best and put it together. And then I get a text from her that says, I put your one sample away training in our team yearly plan to get people to elite and take some new silvers to leadership. We are doing it as a team in October. Thank you for providing this awesome training. You guys, it's all the stuff I wish I had known. If you really want to rank advance, then you get to the retreats because we teach you step by step exactly what to do. And if you don't want to wait for the retreat, then get on the one sample away challenge. So love you guys, and I missed you last week, and I will be in town for a while. So see you guys later.